The movie starts with a big football game in the 1958 FIFA World Cup. It's Brazil versus the USSR, and there's a massive crowd all hyped up for the match. But the commentators aren't being nice. They're dissing Brazil's playing style. Meanwhile, we get a peek into Brazil's locker room, where we meet Pelé, the youngest player ever in the World Cup. Following then, the scene turns to 8 years earlier, where we observe a bunch of children shining shoes and eager to play football. Because of the poor living conditions, the youngsters don't have a real ball to play with. As a result, they steal some clothing from their neighborhood and put them into socks to form a ball. Soon, the gang begins playing with the self-made ball, kicking it from roof to roof, not letting it touch the ground. Despite the ball being too heavy, the kids play with it with ease and elegance, but the game ends in a dirty puddle. Later, one of the children playing football, Deco, makes up a story to his mother that he fell into a river while walking his younger brother Zoka home. But Zoka eventually lets it slip, saying,
"But you are playing football!"
The mother is against them playing football, so as a punishment, she forbids them from listening to the World Cup. In the next scene, Deco's father and some other men are at a bar, listening to the football game on the radio. It's the final match of the 1950 FIFA World Cup between Brazil and Uruguay, and everyone's really hoping Brazil will win. The kids can also be seen on the broken roof of the bar, trying to catch updates on the game. But things take a sad turn when Brazil loses, and Deco's father starts crying. As he leaves the bar, he runs into Deco, who sees his dad upset and promises to win the World Cup someday to make him proud.
I'll win a World Cup for Brazil I promise.
The next day, Deco's mother takes him to her job at a big mansion to help clean the floors. She tells him about how his dad's football dreams were shattered after he got injured.
They paid him nothing and dropped him as soon as he hurt his knee. No insurance, no severance. You think your father wanted to be a janitor, spend the rest of his life scrubbing toilets?
She's worried about Deco getting hurt too, which is why she doesn't want him to play football. As soon as she steps out of the kitchen, a group of rich boys arrive and start talking about an upcoming tournament. They mention that a famous football manager, Waldemar de Brito, will be there, scouting for players for the renowned football club called Santos. The rich boys excitedly imagine themselves as famous football players. Deco attempts to join their conversation and mentions the name of a local football player, Bailey, but mistakenly says Pelé.
And I'll be like Mazzola.
And I'll be like Pelé!
The other boys mock him and start teasing him with the name Pelé.
Who the heck's Pelé?
Goalkeeper for Vasco.
Pelé, the suit. His name's Pelé.
We can call this boy Pelé.
Then, the team captain, Jose, kicks the ball and knocks over Deco's bucket. Just then, Deco's mother returns and apologizes for her son's behavior, even though he wasn't to blame. Before leaving, Deco grabs a piece of newspaper brought by the boys, which mentions the football tournament. Deco gathers his team to play in the tournament. However, his brother reminds him of his promise to shine shoes today. Despite this, Deco remains persistent. They approach the organizers and enlist themselves in the tournament. At first, they struggle to use a real ball, which is much lighter compared to their self-made ball.
Why does it go so far? It's full of air!
However, eventually, the team starts adapting to the new conditions. They make a self-made uniform from bed sheets.
Wait, you knit these?
Well, so technically.
Despite they look poor and have no proper football kit, Deco and his friends showcase remarkable skills that outshine almost every other team in the tournament. They advance to the finals, where they face the same group of boys who previously mocked Deco at his mother's workplace. These boys are older and better equipped, taunting Deco's team with the nickname the Shoeless Ones.
Team number 7.
Hey, they are called the shoeless ones.
Since they're playing without proper football boots. This insult prompts Deco's team to make acquiring boots their top priority for the next game. To fund their plan, the group decides to steal peanuts to sell for money to buy second-hand boots. However, their scheme is almost foiled when Mover spots them in the act and gives chase. Despite the close call, Deco and his friends manage to escape. After roasting the peanuts, they reach the market. To attract more customers, they offer free shoe shines for buying 2 packages of peanuts. While the group is selling the peanuts to the public, the finalist group of boys arrives and starts insulting them again. They mock everyone on Deco's team.
Hey, Pelé, how much for a shine?
Don't call me that.
Or what?
Or you got problems.
Who, Fatty and his sister?
Hey, Beauty's not a girl.
Then why is he needing 4 ice?
Deco gets angry at their insults and hits the leader, resulting in a fight between the two groups. Deco's father observes this, but does not intervene. At home, Deco's mother confronts him about the bruises, to which he lies that his teacher beat him. His mother becomes angry with the teacher and is willing to visit the school tomorrow to talk to his teacher. In order to help his son, Deco's father volunteers to talk to the teacher the next day. The next day, when the mother left for work, Deco's father walks him to the tournament, and on the way asks him why he was fighting. Upon learning that the boys were mocking him, Deco's father tells him that if he wants to play professionally, he can't be ashamed of who he is. Knowing that his father is by his side, Deco becomes happy. The big day finally arrives. Deco notices that one of his friends isn't wearing glasses, afraid of being called Four Eyes. Another friend wears a hat to hide his long hair. The chubby boy brings second-hand boots, but they appear to be too big for their size. Everyone present is cheering for the rich boys, but the announcer calls Deco's team the Shoeless Ones and refers to their captain as Pelé.
The Shoeless Ones, led by Captain Pelé.
Deco becomes angry, but his teammates calm him down. The announcer also introduces their star guest to the audience, Waldemar de Brito, who is scouting for the Santos Football Club. The ill-fitting boots hampered Deco and his team's speed, putting them at a disadvantage. Seizing this opportunity, the opponent team scores goal after goal and takes the score to 6-0. Deco and his team are hopeless about the situation and are furious with the opponents about their foul playing. Enraged, Deco attempts to attack the opponents for calling him Pelé, but stops after noticing his father among the audience. He recalls his father's words about not being ashamed of who he is. He decides to ditch the uncomfortable shoes and play the game like they do back in their streets. After getting the ball, he closes his eyes and reminisces about playing in his neighborhood. Skillfully maneuvering around the opponents, he surprises the crowd with his impressive moves and scores the first goal. His actions inspire his teammates, showing them they have nothing to be ashamed of. They all follow suit, removing their oversized boots and playing their own way. Suddenly, the game takes a dramatic turn, and Deco's team begins to dominate, leaving the opposing team helpless. Each of Deco's teammates manages to dribble past their opponents and score goals, bringing the score to 6-5. Sadly, the match ends, and Deco's team loses. Nevertheless, the crowd is impressed by their captivating performance. They start chanting the name Pelé.
I bet you don't mind being called Pelé now.
Despite the win, Jose looks at Deco with envy. The newspaper photographer snaps a picture of the Shoeless Ones. Waldemar hands his business card to Deco's father. They spot the men they stole peanuts from the other day and are chased, prompting the boys to flee into the forest. One of Deco's friends trips and falls, and Deco rushes back to help him, leading him to a small hole in the ground to hide. While they wait, Deco's friend encourages him, saying Deco can escape the slums with his skills. Suddenly, it starts raining, causing a landslide. Deco manages to escape the hole, but his friend is trapped. Deco desperately calls for help, and the men hear his cries, but tragically, they can't rescue the boy. Heartbroken, Deco returns home and cries in front of his mother, blaming himself for his friend's death. He tells her about everything, the tournament, the fight, and the stealing. He promises that he'll never play football again.
It's okay, Chico. You didn't know.
The man gives his wife the Waldemar's business card. She puts it in a drawer. In order to show him the consequence of skipping school, she asks her husband to take Deco to his work the next day. The following day, Deco's father takes him to his workplace. They do the dirtiest work in a hospital, such as cleaning toilets and serving bedpans. Deco is extremely depressed. Aiming to distract him from his friend's tragedy, the father tries to cheer Deco up by showing some of his skills as he plays with mangoes. He tells Deco that when he was young, he used green mangoes for practicing shooting and ripe ones for finesse. Deco ignores him, keeping his promise given to his mother. Deco refuses to join his friends in playing football. He even throws away the newspaper with their photo. His mother notices that Deco's eyes are empty. One day, the father tries to shoot mangoes into a bin, but seems to fail. Deco can't hold back and shoots a mango right into the bin. His father then reveals that he was just pretending to be clumsy by shooting a mango into the farthest bin. Inspired, Deco joins his father in practicing with mangoes. The father begins to teach Deco his skills. Cut to a few years later, and Deco is now 15 years old. He now handles with mangoes with ease. His mother notices him practicing with his father, but decides not to intervene. She thinks about it all night and decides to call the football scout. She brings the man to observe Deco's practice from a distance. When Deco returns home, he's shocked to see Waldemar inside his home waiting for him. Waldemar suggests Deco participate in the trials of the local football club. Deco bids farewell to his family and travels to Santos. In the next scene, Deco is participating in a tryout session for the professional football team at Santos. The coach tells the students to forget about their primitive style they played at home and to master the techniques of the best teams in Europe. He scolds Deco for sticking to his usual style. After the tryout session, the kids gather in a building to find out who will stay on the team. Deco is disappointed not to find his name on the list for the junior team and is ready to leave the camp. However, an assistant then hangs the list for the youth team, where Deco finds his name, and his training journey begins. Deco has to relearn how to kick a football using the side flip technique. After training each day, the coach shows them football matches, emphasizing that Brazil lost many of its matches due to the primitive playing style of Brazilian football players. In the evening, Waldemar observes Deco's desperate attempts to master the new technique, but all his efforts are in vain. The next scene shows Deco attempting to shoot a penalty, but failing. His teammates grumble that he never scores. That evening, he can't hold back his tears. Waldemar watches Deco leaving the camp with his suitcase. He finds Deco at a railway station.
Well. Leaving so soon?
Mr. De Brito, what are you doing here?
I was going to ask the same of you.
Deco replies that he feels like his way of playing football is not accepted in the academy, and that the coach does not like him.
And if I don't go back to school now, I'll end up cleaning toilets.
And what's wrong with that?
Cleaning toilets?
No. What's wrong with not playing the way the other guys do?
He tells him the story of this style. In the beginning of the 16th century, the Portuguese arrived in Brazil with African slaves. Many Africans escaped to the jungle. To protect themselves, they created Ginga, the foundation of capoeira. When slavery was abolished, capoeira was outlawed. The capoeiristas saw football as a perfect way to practice Ginga without being arrested. It evolved over time and became a part of Brazil. However, in the 1950 World Cup, many believed that the Ginga style was the reason for Brazil's loss. Waldemar says that Ginga is a part of Deco, and he can show the whole world who he really is, or he can get on his train, and he will never know. Waldemar leaves. Deco's train arrives, but he decides to stay. The next day, during the match, Deco makes some poor moves that disappoint both himself and his coach. Feeling desperate, he recalls training with his father using mangoes and notices Waldemar cheering him on. Inspired, he decides to play in his own style, dribbling the ball effortlessly past opponents. He ignores the coach's demands to stop. Eventually, he kicks the ball in the air like he practiced with the mangoes and sends it into the net for a goal in the most spectacular way. His teammates and the opponents congratulate him for the goal. The coach calls him and asks,
"What the hell was that?"
I'm sorry.
Do it again.
Deco continues to dazzle, scoring 4 goals in the match, garnering attention from the newspapers. Despite being the youngest player on the team, he starts building a reputation for himself. Meanwhile, his father listens to every game, cheering proudly for his son's achievements. One night, Waldemar observes Deco practicing shots with his old technique. He is surprised to see Deco fail to score a goal, but then he realizes that Deco intentionally shoots at the crossbar with all the balls. Soon after, new lists of players are hung on the wall. Deco can't find his name on it, but it turns out he has been promoted from the junior team to the pro team.
That's the wrong list, Chico. Welcome to the pros.
Playing matches with teams all around the country. Now, a lot of people come to his matches, eager to see how the 15-year-old phenom plays with his magical style. One day, his mother receives a delivery, but she hasn't ordered anything. It turns out Deco decided to pay a surprise visit to his home, bringing some gifts, including a stove.
You do realize there is no gas motor, right?
Don't break their hearts. We can just use it as a table.
He gives his father a portable radio so that he can listen to his games.
Listen to your games. Are you trying to give your mother a heart attack?
Deco's brother suggests listening to the Brazilian team invitations tomorrow, but their mother reminds him that he must be in school at that time and his father has to work. Deco tells everyone that there's no point in listening to it because he's too young to be on the national team. Despite this, they nervously listen to the announcement of Brazil's national squad for the 1958 World Cup. Deco has no hope of being selected for the national team, and to their surprise, Deco gets selected.
What's going on out there?
Chico, you look sick. Are you okay?
He is shocked by the news and can't believe he's on the team. Before his departure, the father tells him that since 1950, Brazil's spirit dies with every single game, and there's only hope in Deco. He gives him his old uniform with the name Pelé on it.
That's what those rich kids called me to make fun of me.
No, it's what the people called you when they saw you play with Ginga. And when I saw you had something, I did not.
The father shares his story. When he first became a professional footballer, he wanted to play with the beautiful Ginga. He scored 5 goals with his head in one match, but at one moment he was filled with doubt, and it led to his injury. It was the moment when he stopped believing in himself.
Doubt can turn a beautiful Ginga move into a dangerous one.
Pelé leaves and later meets with his teammates. Another player who also practices the Ginga style starts pushing Pelé, but it turns out to be a joke, and the mini Oscar Isaac is a cool and kind guy. He introduces Pelé to all the members of the team. However, the main star for the reporters is José, the rich boy who bullied Pelé when they were kids.
My family is Italian and I was trained in that style of play.
He mocks Pelé again, saying he lacks the modern European style of play. The reporters make fun of some players sticking to their Jenga style. Pelé confronts them, but the coach of the national team interrupts him, promising that the team won't play the Jenga style anymore. After that, the national team coach calls Pelé for a meeting and warns him against playing the Jenga style of football. The next day, Pelé tries to play the European way, as the coach suggested, but finds it difficult. Jose keeps mocking the Jenga players in front of the reporters, mentioning that they are playing lousy. Pelé grumbles to Scott Isaac that they play lousy because they aren't allowed to play their way.
I really hope you're not saying what I think you're saying.
What if we just didn't get it right in 50?
All I know is that coach picks the starting lineup today. Show him you can play the way Jose plays, and you might have a shot. But if you play with Jenga...
Later that day, during the match where the coach is supposed to pick the starting lineup, Pelé struggles to play the European way. Eventually, he decides to perform the Jenga play. The coach demands that he stop doing this, and other players don't approve of Pelé's actions. As a result, he starts to doubt himself, which leads to an inaccurate move, injuring his knee. The team doctor examines him and sadly confirms that the injury may rule him out of the World Cup. At night, Pelé calls his mother and informs her about his injury.
It's my knee, They don't know when I can play again.
What happened?
I should have stayed in school.
His mother is shocked to hear it, but still encourages him to have faith and take care of himself.
We made that choice together, and it was the right choice.
Your father and I love you no matter what.
The next day, the doctor can't say how long it'll take for Pelé to recover from the injury, but it's too late to replace Pelé, so the coach decides to take him to Sweden anyway. The reporters continue to mock the Jenga style, mentioning that one of the Brazilian players injured himself while attempting to play in the Jenga style. The World Cup begins, and the Sweden team makes fun of the Brazilian team for their small size and primitive style. Despite being talkative, Jose says nothing in their defense. The doctor treats Pelé's injury with traditional Brazilian medicine. He mentions that the referees here keep the ball after every game and promises to take the winning ball to Brazil this time. Pelé starts slowly recovering. Meanwhile, the Brazilian team manages to win a couple of starting games. As the games are too brutal and competitive, several players from the team get injured, including Jose. The coach asks the doctors about Pelé's injury.
Better than I expected, but it's still extremely weak.
So you'll clear him?
It'll be excruciatingly painful for him.
I take that as a yes.
Left with no other alternative, an injured Pelé is asked to play for his country. Nervous, Pelé vomits, and the coach literally drags him onto the field, urging him to pull himself together. The doctor approaches Pelé and warns him against playing the Jenga because it's too dangerous for his weak knee. In the next scene, Pelé, along with his team, gets onto the field with his coach reminding him to stick to the plan and play the European way of football. The commentators laugh at Pelé, who appears small even among his teammates.
Clearly the youngest player they've seen in a lineup, and the crowd here having a grand time at his expense.
Don't listen to them, Jacob.
During the game, Pelé plays as his coach suggested, and the Soviet players bump him right and left. Despite this, the Brazilian team manages to win the game against the USSR team. In the semi-final game against France, the Brazilian team finds themselves trailing 1-0 after the first half. As Pelé looks around the dressing room during the break, he notices the depressed and injured players. Feeling disheartened, he approaches Jose, asking him to replace him in the second half if his leg feels better. However, Jose declines, explaining that he isn't mentally prepared to play football. He tells Pelé,
That day back in Bauru, we showed everyone that part of us, the Jenga, was beautiful. That's what we need now.
After the half, Pelé returns to play the game, and when he misses a pass, he looks at Jose, who nods at him affirmatively. Pelé then attacks the ball and starts dribbling between the players with ease and perfection. The coach orders him to step back, but Pelé doesn't listen. The crowd is stunned as Pelé skillfully bounces the ball over the players, scoring a magnificent goal for his team. Meanwhile, his father cheers proudly for him in front of the TV at the bar. As the scores are tied, Pelé goes on to score 2 more goals, clinching the victory for his team and securing their spot in the finals. Now, instead of mocking him, the commentators call Pelé the 17-year-old phenom. After the game, the father comes home and states that their son feels better and even scored 3 goals. As the final match against Sweden draws near, the Brazilian national coach gathers the team for a meeting and orders the team to play the European way of football. He tries to teach them some strategic tactics and recommends they emulate the formation used by the Swedish players. In the training, he tries to make the players play with the formations, but sees no improvement in the game.
Coach.
What?
I don't understand how I'm supposed to be on the wing and covering Skoglund at the same time.
Because you...
The team watches as the Swedish team engages in harsh play against the German team. Sweden is known for their dirty style of play. One of the German players is injured by the Swedes, which leads to the end of his career, striking fear into Brazilians. During the press conference between the two teams, the Swedish team coach makes fun of Brazil's way of playing. He further adds that if Brazil continues to play the same style, they will lose the finals as they did in 1950. He also mentions that they will quickly incapacitate Pelé. He starts humiliating all the Brazilian players one by one, reciting their flaws.
Djalma Santos. He mangled his hand in an accident while working in a factory as a teenager. The right winger, Garrincha, born with a deformed spine and one leg shorter than the other.
Frustrated with the opponent coach demoralizing the national team, Brazil's coach storms off from the conference. At night, Pelé calls his father and reveals about the dire situation of the team. Hearing this, his father suggests him to unite the team like he used to do during his childhood.
I heard the guys are calling you Pelé now.
Jose started it. It's silly.
This is a sign. Now is the time for Pelé.
The next, Pelé starts to bounce the ball in the cafeteria, but all the Brazil team is depressed.
Hey, Garrincha. What the heck, Pelé?
He desperately tries to challenge the players to take the ball from the hotel to the nearest lighthouse without touching the ground, as they used to as children. But some of the team asks him to stop fooling around. Jose supports Pelé.
You won't be able to do it alone.
And one by one, they start engaging in the challenge. They start kicking the football around, not letting it touch the ground. During the game, they accidentally destroy a cake in the kitchen and even knock over a sugar container on the table of one of the wealthy residents of the hotel.
I'm sorry, sir.
Who looks familiar to me. The coach becomes upset, seeing his team fooling around. They manage to get the ball out of the hotel without it touching the ground, but Pelé fails to execute the finishing kick and falls into the water. The next day, the coach gathers the team and admits his mistake for teaching them the formations and other European style of football. And yesterday, while they were chasing the ball around the hotel, he realized that Ginga is their style. It makes Brazilian football unique and spectacular. He suggests that the team play in the final in their own style and show the world the beauty of Brazilian football. It's the day of the finals, and both teams are ready to face each other. Because of their similar uniform colors, the Brazilian team is assigned blue jerseys. The whistle blows, and the Swedish players start intentionally pushing Pelé in an attempt to injure him. The Swedish team scores within 4 minutes of the play. All the Brazilian supporters are in shock with the Swedish players whirling around Pelé, stopping him from getting the ball. Pelé's mother can't hold back her emotions and turns on the radio, the one her son gave them. But soon the Brazilian players compose themselves, and Pelé assists to score the first goal for the team. One after another, the Brazilian team scores, and so does Pelé. His mother storms into the bar and sees her son is winning the World Cup. Soon the final whistle blows, and the game ends with a scoreline of 5-2. Brazil wins the World Cup for the first time in history. Pelé faints due to emotional overload. All of Pelé's teammates storm into the ground and lift Pelé on their shoulders. All of Brazil celebrates its victory, and the doctor steals the ball as he promised. The scene then shifts to the real moments after Brazil wins the finals.
June 29, 1958. The day Brazil won our first World Cup. Everything felt like a dream. It had only been 18 months since I first left home, but it felt like years. My mother and father came out to meet me, and Dad reminded me of the promise I made 8 years earlier.
In the last scene, we're informed about how Pelé was declared a national treasure by the Brazilian president in 1961. Pelé holds the world record for most goals and is also the youngest player to score a goal in the World Cup. He is also the only player to win 3 FIFA World Cups. One record Pelé never beat was heading 5 goals in one game. This record held by his father. And yes, guys, I know that the wealthy gentleman in the hotel was Pelé himself. I just wanted to see how many people would comment about it. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to my channel and click on these pictures to watch other recaps I've prepared for you.